monument, that means national dollars coming into our community. Federal dollars is going to give us the ability to start building hotel chains, start building restaurants, and just doing the things that are necessary to uplift the quality of life. And more importantly than that, we're going to showcase the gem that we have in our community called Pullman. So I'm going to get on my soapbox as we go along, but we have some very special guests that are here with us today. And as they come in, some people have to come in and say a few words and leave. But I'm so excited that we have our Secretary of Interior with us, who is, let me make sure I get it right. I don't want to misquote. The 51st Secretary of the Department of Interior. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a Pullman 9th Ward round of applause for Sally Jewell. Let's give it up.
You have a passionate alderman. That is great. It's been really nice to get to know the alderman this morning and to be with the president and the enthusiastic crowd over at the school. So thank you for this warm welcome to the 9th Ward, this warm welcome to the Pullman area. And I had a great opportunity earlier today to tromp around the clock tower building, to drive through the neighborhoods, to look at the warehouses, and it's a little bit of a fixer-upper for the Park Service, but we are well on our way to fixing it up with the support of a great community. So thank you to the community for everything you've done to make this day happen. So I just flew in from Alaska yesterday. It was warmer there. Yeah. I'm serious. I was actually about 150 miles north of the Arctic Circle, and it was warmer there. But it is a warm room here because of what you have all done. And this event wouldn't happen, Pullman wouldn't happen without incredible people in this community. I want to start by thanking David Doig with the Chicago Neighborhood Initiative. Dave, back there, for doing so much for Chicago and doing so much to integrate what makes Chicago great as a livable community, as a city that's proud of its roots, and a city that wants to share that pride with all of us as we're doing in Pullman. We were just with Mayor Emanuel. He spoke to me about Pullman when I first met him 1 week into this job, as I was half put together for a fancy dress thing that night and carrying furniture up the stairs in my house as I'd moved in to Washington, D.C. just 1 week after being confirmed. And he talked to me about Pullman, and he talked about the vision that you have in Chicago for parks and open spaces and places for kids to get healthy and connect with the outdoors. And the president also announced today the Every Kid in a Park initiative, which is going to give a free pass for every fourth grader, as he said, to get out into our national parks and public lands with their families for free. Yeah, let's give a round of applause for that. But today we're here to celebrate you. We're here because you said Pullman matters. You said Pullman is special. Pullman has stories that need to be told, as the president talked about. Stories of civil rights, stories about labor, stories of industrialization, stories of taking care of workers and maybe not taking care of workers, stories of paternalism and stories of economic opportunity. All of them happen here. You said that loud, you said it often, you said it to members of Congress. They worked hard to get it across the finish line in Congress, and that didn't happen. So today, the president used his pen to do what your elected officials asked him to do, which is make Pullman a national monument. He heard you. Director Jarvis, yeah, we can give it up for that. My colleague John Jarvis, sitting there with a flat hat, director of the National Park Service, came here, and he came back to D.C., and his feet weren't touching the ground because of what he heard from people here. I'll let him tell you about that story, but he was blown away by the passion of the people here. And it wouldn't happen without your tireless support over many years. People like I met today, Mike Szymanski with the Pullman Historical Society. Or Mike Wagenbach. Mike, are you out there someplace? Wave. He's got to be out there, I'm sure he is. Mike, who led the tour today, who is the only employee of the Pullman State Historic Site that has been doing such a great job on interpretation. Or Dr. Lynn Hughes, who has been a tireless advocate for the story of the A. Philip Randolph story and the museum. Or Lynn McClure from the National Parks Conservation Association and her colleagues. Lynn, thank you. Back over there, too short to be seen in the crowd. All right. Or Sandra Washington, who you probably don't know, but she was the principal planner for the National Park Service, and she was instrumental on the study of this community. Yes, back there, with her junior ranger daughter and her partner. So it takes a village, and these are just a few of the people in this village that have made this happen. And you stepped up in a big way. It doesn't happen without money, and money happens because people are willing to share their time and their treasure. And in the case of treasure, I have to say a big thanks to the National Park Foundation Board, particularly Brian Traubert and his wife Penny Pritzker, my colleague on the cabinet with the Pritzker-Traubert Foundation. Brian O'Brien, also on the NPF board, and Mary Haston, Ellen Alberding, who chairs the NPF board right now, and Kelly Walsh. Could we just give them a round of applause for the huge financial contributions? And they are joined by some enlightened foundations and businesses. The Union Pacific Foundation, who also has deep roots in this area. And foundations you know of, the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, the Robert McCormick Foundation, and the David Hiller Charitable Fund. Let's give them a round of applause too. So far, $8 million. We're going to need some more to do what we need to do for all of you. I want to recognize Dan Link, who's actually the superintendent of Yellowstone National Park, but right now he's interim president of the National Park Foundation. If you brought your checkbook, he's taking checks. Right there, yeah, now he's waving. It's great to have people step up and get started, but we are going to need more support over time, and so we're going to work on those efforts through the National Park Foundation and the generous people of Chicago, but also beyond Chicago, because these are stories that need to be told that make sense for the whole country. So thanks, community here, for being a model for our nation. Thanks for helping us tell the stories that happened right here in Chicago, that shaped the labor movement, that shaped the civil rights movement, and also shaped the industrialization of this country. So keep your passion happening, keep coming to the table, don't now go home and say, all right, that job's done, because this job is only starting. But with you, I know we can tell this story not only to Americans, but we can inspire people from around the world. So thank you for everything that you've done.